Wait, they're actually doing it? Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to prove I was wrong. I was wrong about something, and I want to address this first off. You know, I've been following the game since its inception, before the release, before the super pre-release even. I knew about the game probably a year in advance before it got released. And I've kept a close eye on all the information, and I went like, you wouldn't believe how bothering I can be when I'm hyped about something. I DM'd all the stores in my town asking them if they were gonna carry the game. I DM'd them like 3 times a week for like 2 months. And I got some answers that were not to my taste. And one of them was that they were waiting for the French version of the game. And I laughed it off because I knew it wasn't coming. I knew there was the Japanese version, I knew the English version was coming out. There was no French version in sight. I was wrong. They're doing it. But there's some twist to that. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about what this implies to the ecosystem that is already active for the game and all the tournaments, what that means for everybody. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel. We are at 600 subscribers on the channel, and I really need to get to 1,000. So please subscribe to the channel. I know most of you who watches my video are not subscribed, but I also know a lot of you keeps coming back to the videos and to my channel for information. So please consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't take that much, and it really helps me out. And also make sure to share the video and this channel with your friends, because One Piece is a multiplayer card game. So it's a good occasion to get together with your friends and organize some play with them. They're gonna need information as well, so might as well give them the video that I'm making. I'm always about trying to help the community getting the freshest news and also everything you need to know about the game. I made an ultimate guide for that. There's every information you will ever need for the game. And we're also gonna make deck building from beginner to advanced concept in the game. So, I mean, consider it at the very least. But for now, let's just look at the trailer, and we're gonna cut the sound as always. Well, there you go, guys. We have the official trailer for the One Piece card game French version. And of course, there's some questions that when I heard the news, when I saw this and I saw the video, I was asking myself some pretty big question about the implication on what does this mean for actual player of the game, player already established. So you can see available in French starting 2025, and we're gonna go back to that in a second, because there's, like I said, there is some caveat to that specific announcement, and they have been talking about this on their official page. So we're just gonna find those information back. So there you go. That's the original announcement. So we have a very important announcement. Dear French player, thanks for your patience. Starting 2025, the French version of the One Piece card game will finally be available. It's gonna debut with the extension of OP09, and stay tuned for more information. That's all we got, and already they're starting the French version with OP09. So let's address this for starters. So OP09 is gonna be released for the English version of the game in December. That's a fact. That's the anniversary of the game. They cannot move the anniversary of the game. They say that this will debut with OP09, and this will debut starting 2025. So at least January 2025. So we're gonna have 3 separate birthdays for the 3 version of the game, meaning we're gonna have the Japanese anniversary in August, as we have right now. We're gonna have the English anniversary in December, as we have right now, and we're gonna have the French anniversary in January 2025, or supposedly January 2025. Might be February, we don't know. Now, the thing is, we're gonna have 3 separate anniversary, and at the very least the French and English version are close together, so that's gonna be a good thing. But they say they're gonna debut with the OP09 extension. So the question then is, what about everything before? So the French version of the game is gonna start in block 3, which is the third year of the game, starting with OP09 and also starting with the starter deck 21. So the implication here is, what about previous set? What about block 1 and 2? But now for the practical side of things, we talked about this in my local community because Bandai did this with Dragon Ball Super back in the day, and player region plays a huge role in tournament and how they are organized. So if they release a French version of the game, I'm based in Belgium, okay? I said this in the past. We have 3 official language in the country. We have French, we have Dutch, and we have English. Of course, Dutch, there is no Dutch version of the game, so they play in English. And there was only the English version, so it was pretty unified until now. Now we're gonna have the French version. So what does this mean? Half of the country is gonna play in French, the other half is gonna play in English. And what about big tournament? I started my collection. I have English cards for One Piece. What do I do now? Do I go with the French version, or do I stick with the English version? And there is part of an answer that was given to us on the social of the game, because we have a post right here about the legality of the cards. And so the message reads, dear players, after the release of the French version, One Piece card game cards printed in English and French can be played in any tournament in Europe. You can freely create your deck with English and or French cards without any restriction. That's already way better than Dragon Ball, because I was mentioning Dragon Ball before, and what they did is that you needed to have a deck in the language that you play in. So if you were French, you needed to have a French deck, and that was very limiting, especially because for most players, having another language that is understandable and easily accessible as English is cheaper than having it in your own language. I'm actually expecting French card to fetch a higher price than their English version. The same way that Japanese version of cards right now are worth less to us than the English version. But that is already a very good news, because this news right here means that I do not have to part ways with the collection that I already have. I can just keep it that way. If I want to jump to French, I can do so starting OP09, or I can just freely mix English and French from now on. But I'm rather of the mind of keeping my collection unified in English, aside from maybe alternate arts. But they do seem to really double down on the French market, because you can see the next post was literally promoting starter deck 15 through 20 in French, and I didn't notice that actually. So 6 new decks, 1 of each color, will be available in French. Each product will contain a deck, and each product will contain a pre-constructed deck as well as down cards and a booster of OP09. Do we get that in English? Do we get the OP09 boosters with all those decks? Or is it just a French thing? What? Where is it? Okay, it's here at the top. What is that? Are we gonna get that in English? I didn't notice this, but other than that, we don't really have like any other information. We just know that it's gonna come out in French, so for all the French people and for all the kids that want to get into the game, it's gonna be super cool for them. And I mean, I just got a son, so I might pick at least some starter deck in French for him down the line so he can get into the game with me. But we can rest peacefully knowing that our collection, the English one that we've built so far, is still worth something, because we don't know if they're gonna print in French OPO 1 through... well, OPO 1 through 8, that's 8 booster set they have to reprint, or even the starter deck. We don't know if they're gonna reprint that, but we know starter deck 15 through 20, as well as starting from OPO 9, that's gonna come out in French. If you're a French player in the community, I know there's some of you in my video and my community. I know you, I see you guys. If English was always a barrier of entry for you, that is now gone. You will be able to enjoy this game, and that is just the most important in all this. So leave me down in the comment section below, what is your thoughts on this? Do you plan to play in French? Are you keeping your English connection and mixing it with French? Are you keeping it all in English because you want like unity in your collection? Were you waiting for the French version? I'm curious about that, because that's the game is 2 years old. Were you still waiting for a French version? And they're gonna start with the OPO 9 booster set, so if you want more information about OPO 9 and as well as information on the starter deck that they were talking about, the starter deck 15 through 20, I got 2 videos just for you.